Hello, my name is Chris Groff and I teach at KSAD. It's a magnet school in San Antonio, Texas. Today we're going to be creating fire using the Blender. And this version that I have is 2.59. When you create smoke and fire, you have two objects that you put in, and one is the flow and one is the domain. And the flow determines where the smoke will be produced from, and then the domain defines the bounds of the simulated volume. So for our flow, we're going to have a UV sphere. So let's go ahead and delete the main cube. You'll go to Add Mesh and let's select UV sphere. And with the UV sphere, we're going to add a particle system to it. So we'll open up this window here, and let's go ahead and click on Particles. It's the one with the little stars. And you're going to click the plus sign. Under Emission here, we're going to type in an amount, and it's the amount of particles. We'll go ahead and type in 15,000. Obviously, the higher the amount, the more particles you'd have. Under Lifetime, this is the lifespan of the particles. We're going to put it on 5 so that each particle will last 5 frames. And then Random, this is basically the life at random variation. So we'll set that to like 0.4. And then you want to make sure that you have random checked if it's not. That way it'll emit the particles in a random order. Then we'll go down to the Velocity tab. For velocity, under Emitter Geometry here, okay, we're going to put this at 0.2. And then random, we want this to be set at 0.770. And this will all affect the velocity of the particles. Next thing we're going to do is go to the field weights here. And the field weights determine how much various forces affect the smoke. So we're going to set our gravity to 0. That way, and basically gravity, it's how much smoke is affected by gravity. So with 0 it wouldn't be affected. And then under Render, we don't want to see the particles, so we're going to check None. So right here where it says None, there we go. Okay. And then after you do that, we're going to go to the Cache. And I take the steps down to 1, and then go ahead and click Bake. And that'll bake the particles. Alright, so once we have that, now we're going to add our domain. And that's basically the bounds where the smoke goes. So let's do Add Mesh, and let's add a cube. And you can go ahead and hit S. I'm going to hit 3 and Enter, and then I'm going to press the Z key to go into wireframe mode. Okay, so you can set your cube or your domain. It's what contains your smoke and fire. So you could scale it to any size. I just put it at 3 because I think that's a good size for it. Okay, so once you have that, you want to make sure that the cube is selected. I'm sorry, I mean the UV sphere here. And we're going to go into the Physics tab. And we want to add smoke. Okay? And like I said before, our inner object here is going to be the flow. So it'll be where the smoke is produced from. So you want to check smoke and then flow. Okay? Now let's go ahead and select the outer cube here. And we'll go to the Physics tab. And we want to add smoke again. But this time we're going to check domain because we know, like I've said before, that the outer box is going to be our domain. Okay? Now let's go back to the flow, or the first cube, or I'm sorry, not the first cube, the UV sphere here. And we want to check initial velocity, okay? And then for temperature difference, we're going to set it at 2. Okay? So the multiplier here will make it look like it's burning faster. So the higher the number, the faster the fire, the faster the flames. So just keep that in mind if you want to go back and make your flames flow faster. Alright, let's right click the domain now. You want to check dissolve so the smoke isn't permanently there. So right here, check dissolve, and then you can set up the time here, and that's the dissolve speed, so how fast the smoke goes away. Alright, so once you have that set up, you can press Alt A and you'll be able to see your smoke. Okay, one last thing on part 1 here. Depending on the speed of your computer, you want to check smoke high resolution and change the division to 2, and under the noise method select FFT here. And once you've done that, you want to go back to the particle system and select your inner object, your flow, which is our UV sphere, and then under cache go ahead and do free bake and then bake again and let it bake. And this will take a lot longer because we've put it on high resolution. So it'll take, I don't know, maybe 10-15 minutes. Go ahead and let it bake, and after it bakes you can go ahead and start on part 2 of the tutorial.